Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look to what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, Sagittarius season begins. We're going to be giving you an overview of every transit that happens during Sagittarius season so you know what you're getting into up front. But in case you missed it, last week was a very mellow, uneventful week in the stars, but we did talk all about Jupiter returns and why there's something you should look forward to. So if you want to know more about that, then listen to last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything you need to know about Mercury and Capricorn and how it affects you, including the upcoming Mercury retrograde.
So as you just heard, Mercury retrograde. There's a lot of things that happen during Sagittarius season. The first ones that happen this week, the week of Thanksgiving that this episode comes out, includes the Sun and Mars entering Sagittarius and the full moon in Gemini. So we'll explain these in depth now. But everything else, including Mercury in Capricorn, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, the full moon in Sagittarius, Neptune stationing direct, and Venus entering Scorpio, we'll cover them lightly now so you know a little bit about it, but they will all have their own episodes in the future with deep dives per usual. And with that being said, let's dive into the episode. So Sagittarius begins when the sun enters Sagittarius on November 22nd at 9:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. How this affects you. Sagittarius is typically a very positive and optimistic sign. So during Sagittarius season, people take on that optimistic Sagittarius energy and tend to feel a little bit more upbeat and hopeful. Sagittarius is also known for their love of adventure and exploration. So during Sagittarius season, you might feel more inclined to step out of your comfort zone, try new things, or maybe even travel.
Sagittarius energy is also known for its open and expansive mindset. So during this time, you're going to be more open to new ideas, learning new things, and seeking new perspectives. This also is a sign that's associated with independence and exploration, so you might be more inclined to travel and find new things that you enjoy.
Now, there are some key dates you'll want to pay attention to. These are the aspects that the sun will make during its time in Sagittarius. The first one will be November 23rd. The sun will be square Saturn. This is Thanksgiving Day. So what you need to know about this is that this aspect can bring feelings of restriction, and there might be some challenges when it comes to self-expression. So if you're feeling a little, frustrated, or if you're feeling like you're having a hard time balancing the Thanksgiving festivities with your responsibilities, it's going to be really important that you just pace yourself, be gentle with yourself, and practice patience.
And then on December 16th, the sun will be square Neptune. Squares are more challenging aspects, and Neptune is a very confusing energy. So on this day, you might find you're feeling a little bit more anxious than usual. If you're someone who tends to give a lot and be there for the people that you really care about, you might find that there's some conflict between needing to choose yourself and put yourself first and be there to support others. It can be a little bit confusing and overwhelming, so please make sure to take care of yourself, journal, and do things that bring you peace.
And then on Friday, November 24th at 5:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mars enters Sagittarius. What you need to know is that Mars in Sagittarius can create a strong desire for adventure and exploration, which we mentioned are Sagittarius-like themes. You might feel more motivated to maybe take risks, try new things, and like I said, get out of your comfort zone. Sagittarius, as we mentioned earlier, is quite optimistic. So when you notice that Mars, the planet of our energy, is in that sign, you might feel just a little bit more of a boost when it comes to your enthusiasm.
This can be a really helpful energy if you are facing any challenges or if you need to problem solve. Mars and Sagittarius are both very active, fiery energies, so it can bring a lot of motivation and energy to get things done and find solutions. Because Sagittarius is a mutable sign, this means that it's very adaptable, and during this time, you might be seeking change and new experiences more than usual.
So the key dates you'll want to pay attention to while Mars is in Sagittarius. The first one is November 25th. Mars is square Saturn. With Mars square Saturn, there might be some frustrations or delays when it comes to your actions. If you feel that you're experiencing any setbacks, obstacles, or resistance, stay patient and stay determined. It's going to be important that you are a little bit more selective with how you choose to use your energy and how you choose to preserve your energy on this day.
And then on December 28th, we have another challenging aspect. Mars will be square Neptune. Neptune, again, brings about a sense of confusion, and it also can affect our motivation. So you might find it a little bit more challenging to set goals, take action, and get things done.
Then the next thing that happens in astrology is on Monday, November 27th at 4:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will be the full moon in Gemini. So how this affects you is that Gemini and that mercurial energy of communication might cause an increase in emphasis on communication. You might notice on the full moon in Gemini, you're feeling a little bit more talkative, expressive, or maybe more inclined to engage in discussions or debates or just have social interactions in general.
Because full moons are all about letting go, we're going to be letting go of different Gemini themes. So you might be reflecting on the way that you communicate with others. You also could be reflecting on different lessons that you learned and seeking out new knowledge and perspectives.
So there are some aspects to this full moon in Gemini that make this just a little bit more interesting. The first is that the sun is conjunct Mars and the moon is opposite Mars. With the sun conjunct Mars, you might notice there's more energy, physical energy, or assertiveness, or your drive to achieve your goals might be stronger than usual. However, with the moon being opposite Mars, you might notice that emotions are running pretty strong. And it's going to be important that you find an outlet if you notice that the emotions are starting to really get to you.
This full moon will also be square Saturn. Squares do bring about some tension, and Saturn's a more restrictive and serious energy. This might make it a little bit more challenging to fully express yourself and communicate with others about the things that are going on. So just remember not to be too hard on yourself and to take extra care of yourself on this day.
And lastly, the moon is trine Pluto, which could be adding a sense of personal empowerment. The moon trine Pluto can signify an ability to navigate transformation pretty well and come out stronger on the other side. So there's an added sense of resilience and regeneration/rejuvenation when it comes to this aspect. Now, everything else that we're about to mention will have their own episodes in the near future, but we're going to talk about them now just so you know what to expect. The first thing is going to be Mercury entering Capricorn on December 1st at 9:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you can expect is that Mercury in Capricorn tends to bring a more practical and structured approach to our communication. So expect to be more focused on your goals and long-term plans during the transit.
As mentioned in the beginning of this episode, we will go into more detail about Mercury in Capricorn next week, but Mercury will retrograde from Capricorn into Sagittarius. So it's really important that you pay attention to the different themes that come up while Mercury is in Capricorn.
The next thing that happens is Venus entering Scorpio on December 4th at 1:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know is that Venus in Scorpio can intensify our emotions. So you might notice that when it comes to your relationships, you're seeking more of a deeper connection and wanting to get to know people for who they truly are.
Also, just keep in mind that Venus does not perform at its best in the sign of Scorpio. It's in detriment. So that means that it's kind of difficult for Venus to fully express itself through that sign. There also will be a lot of aspects, including an opposition to Jupiter and Uranus, a trine to Saturn and Neptune, and then eventually a sextile to Pluto. So there's a lot of details there that we will go into in a future episode.
Then the next thing that happens in astrology is Neptune stationing direct in Pisces on December 6th at 8:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Something you should know is that Neptune is a very foggy and confusing planet. So there might be some confusing energy that comes up after Neptune stations direct, since the retrograde kind of lifted that fog and the fog is back.
Also, keep in mind that Neptune is an outer planet, so this might not be an energy or a shift that you feel immediately. It's something that's better understood in hindsight because the changes that happen as Neptune goes through the sign of Pisces are slower.
Then the next thing that happens is the new moon in Sagittarius on December 12th at 6:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. How this affects you is you'll be setting some intentions related to all those Sagittarius themes: expansion, growth, adventure, travel, philosophy. So if you're looking for an opportunity to maybe embark on a new educational journey, to travel, or to explore something new, you're going to want to pay attention to the new moon in Sagittarius.
There are two aspects to this new moon that we did want to mention. The first one is a conjunction to Mars, and there also will be a square to Neptune. These aren't necessarily the easiest aspects, so you will want to pay attention to that episode to find out how to work best with that energy.
And then lastly is the Mercury retrograde that starts in Capricorn on December 13th at 2:09 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As we mentioned, Mercury will retrograde from Capricorn into Sagittarius. This is an energy you're going to be working with for the rest of the year. We're going to talk about it next week, which is earlier than we normally would have, but we figured you would want to know all of that information before going into December. And with that being said, that is it for Sagittarius season. If any of these transits piqued your interest and you want to know how they affect you on a more personal level, then this is your reminder. We offer readings, and if you want to book a reading with us, the link will be in the description.
And if you've never booked a reading with us before, then you can use the code STARS, all caps, STARS, for $20 off your first reading.
And just a reminder, next week we'll be talking all about Mercury and Capricorn, as well as Mercury retrograde. So stick around for next week's episode if you want to plan for December. But until then, if you want to stay in the loop with us and what's to come, we are on social media. We're on Instagram and YouTube at BLME The Stars. That is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.